Hi, my name is Mr. Codilla, and today I'm going to show you how to use Google Classroom. This is going to be an introduction. One of the ways you can find Google Classroom is if you go into your Gmail or your Google Drive, you'll see your apps menu right there. You go ahead and click on that, scroll down, and there is the Google Classroom logo right there. You can go ahead and click on that. You can also go to the Google Play Store and you can download the app. You can also go to the iTunes Apple Store and download the app there as well. Now I'm going to go back to Google Classroom. You see I have several classes already. Now to create a new class, I just click on the plus and come down to Create Class, and then you just simply type in the name. You can also type in the section if you have multiple sections of the same class. Click Create, and now you have your new class right there. Now anytime you want to get back, you can go back to your little menu. Be aware of your little menus, the little three lines or three dots. Go back to Classes. Now here are my classes. Now if we come back up to the apps menu, you'll see that you have several sections here, including here's the section of the classes that you are teaching, and here's the section of the classes that we're enrolled in right here. You can also go to the archive classes, and we have a calendar as well. And that calendar is different from your Google Calendar. It looks a little bit like this. Let's go back to our classes again. Now let's go ahead and get right into our classroom here. Go ahead and open it up by clicking on it there. You have three main sections: your stream, your students, and your about. We're going to start in reverse order. We're going to click on about first. This is a place where you would put a lot of your descriptors of your class, and maybe like a syllabus, maybe some templates, things that your classroom will need on a regular basis. Here's a tip: do not put a whole lot in here. One of the things that I could add right now is I can go ahead and click down here. Now I can add an attachment, a Google Drive attachment, a YouTube video, and a link. I'm going to go ahead and click on link and paste in our, I'm going to go ahead and click on that and paste in our class website. Now I'll go ahead and title it. There we go. Click on post. And there's our class website. So anytime a student needed to access that, it's just right under the About section. And you'll notice again you have your calendars up here. I'll go ahead and click on this one again. If you did notice, we have a calendar where you'll have your assignments. It is different from your Google Calendar, but yep, you can open that up right here, and there's your Google Calendar. And yet another feature right here is your Google Drive, right here, your folder that's connected to your Google Drive. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and you'll notice Google Classroom automatically creates your Google Drive folders that are connected to it. So anything that goes inside this classroom will also be inside your Google Drive as well. And that's wonderful for keeping things organized. Last couple things I want to mention about the About section is you can invite other teachers to co-teach with you in this classroom. And do remember, you have your little extra options there. If you click on your buttons, you can delete posts, you can edit them, of course. And the other thing that I do want to mention is, just in closing, about the About section, you can add things like rules and I put a digital contract that all students have to read and sign so that they can use our Google Classroom. Let's go on to students now. When you click on students, you have a code that you can share. This is similar to Edmodo if you've ever used something like that before. Now this is very, very important. When you start inviting students, you want to set the parameters in which they can interact on Google Classroom. They can have students can post and comment, students can only comment, and only teacher can post or comment. Now do remember, when you give someone this class code, they must be in your Google Apps for Education domain. So for example, only the students and my colleagues that are in my school district can use this code to access and join this classroom. You just can't give this to anybody, and of course Google Classroom is only available to people in the Google for Education apps domain. Now on this code you also have some options here. You can reset it and you can disable it. Now let's go ahead and start inviting some students. Now to protect student data, I went ahead and put this window over it, but here's what it would look like. You would have your contacts, and you would be able to click on these and then invite your students. You can also create groups as well, so that might help you out. Like for example, I go ahead and import like an entire grade level, and then I just click select all, and then I go ahead and just invite them all. That saves me from having to type in each individual email. Now when we're inviting students, you can go ahead and type in their individual addresses. You can also go to your contacts and set up contacts and groups. I'll show you a quick way to do that. You go back to your email, like if this was your email, you come up here to Mail. So this is your Gmail. You come down to Contacts. Then you would go into your school reporting system, like your data grids or something, that have all your student emails. And you just go ahead and highlight those. Go ahead and click on your Add a Person Contact. Copy paste all those inside here. Then you create that group. Now once you've created that group, you can go back to your class right here, and you'll find it in your groups, and you can simply click on all those and invite all those students at one time instead of having to type in every single individual student. I'll go ahead and search for this. Here's this person. I go ahead and click on it. This is going to be a test student. I go ahead and invite that student, and now they're invited. I'm going to go ahead and show you the student view just so you can see what it looks like when a student is invited. Now from a student's perspective, when you see this, you'll see that this is their Gmail, and inside their Gmail they have an invitation. So here's your Google Classroom invitation. I'll go ahead and open this up. Now you come down here, you'll see my name. You're being invited to join our classroom. You're going to go ahead and click on this blue link. And now you see our Google Classroom is loaded up for our student account. But now let's go ahead and go back to the teacher account. But I want to show you the difference. There is the teacher's account, and here is the student's. It looks very similar, but there are some very key distinctions we're going to cover. Let's go ahead and go back to the teacher account now. Now you're going to see that the student has been invited. They're part of our classroom. Now I can go ahead and click on this, and I can do some different things. I can email them, I can remove them, I can go ahead and mute them if I needed to. I can click on this, and that will email them as well. I can again change the different type of posts and comments that they can make. Now let's talk a little bit about this code as well. What if instead of an email they just wanted to do this code? Let's go back to a student account. I'm going to go ahead and close out of their Google Classroom. I'm going to come over here, click on their apps menu inside their Gmail, scroll down and find Google Classroom. Now, if they wanted to, they can go ahead and click on the plus again, and they can join a class, and they would use that same code that was in the teacher account right there to join your class. So that's a different way they can join your class as well. I'm going to go ahead and unclick these. And I will give you one extra tip here. Now you notice I didn't start talking about the theme here because I wanted to save it until the student section. You can add a general theme like this. You can go ahead and select a theme from different patterns and from their gallery. So you can do that if you want to as well. You can also upload a photo. And what's kind of neat about this is you can actually take a picture of your classroom, drag the photo in there, and you can have your class right up here. I chose not to do that to protect student information right now, but that is one option that I've used because sometimes going throughout the day you kind of wonder, okay, which class is, you know, this, or what kid is in which class, so forth and so on, and you're trying to figure out where they're at, and so you can easily look at your theme right up here and identify that student. So that's just one extra tip that I'm going to give you. Now let's get right into what the heart of Google Classroom is all about, and that is the stream section right here. Now you will notice some changes. Here's the students section right here from the teacher view, and if I go over to the students view, you'll see classmates instead, so do keep that in mind. And I will also give you this extra tip. Sometimes when you're sharing devices in classes, you know, students are taking quizzes or whatever using Google Classroom, make sure they check up here in the upper right hand corner what account they're actually signed into, so they're actually not in anybody else's account. So let's go ahead and go back to the teacher's view. And now we're going to talk about the most important thing in the stream, which is this little plus button here. I go ahead and click on that. It's going to give me 4 options. We're going to go through these individually. First, we're going to go ahead and create an announcement. So this is just a little general announcement. You're going to notice these 4 options on all of these: the attachment, the drive link, the YouTube, and the regular web link here. You can also, this is really important, if you're managing multiple classes and you want to say make an announcement in more than one Google Classroom, you can actually click on that down arrow and you can make that announcement in several classes. This is really helpful for me because I teach many sections of the same class, so I can make the same announcement in all those classes. Now I can also save this as a draft. That's very helpful because, like, for example, Maybe I don't want to announce it until the next morning, and maybe I'm working the night prior on something. I can save it as a draft and then post it the next day. I can also trash it right there. So I'll go ahead and post this. There's my announcement right there, and you can also go back and edit these and delete them. We'll talk about the move to top section, which is very, very important. Now I'm going to come down, back to my plus button. I'm going to come up to create assignment. Now I'm going to give you a huge tip here. Make sure you use naming conventions for your assignment. I'm going to go ahead and type in 001 test right here. You can add some instructions if you want to. Here's the due date. You can actually have no due date if you want to. If I go ahead and click on my calendar, it gives me a calendar right there, and I can add a time, but that's just optional. Go ahead and click out of that. Now the due date's set. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start attaching things to this assignment. I can use just a regular attachment. I can go ahead and click on my Google Drive. Click on this right here. That's one of my fractions tests. Now this is really big right over here. This changes the ability for students to manipulate the file. They can view only the file, they can edit the file, but I actually like using this one. This actually makes a copy for each student, so they have a copy of their own, so they're not changing your original or anything like that, and they can actually manipulate that in their own Google Drive and Google Apps. So I'll go ahead and assign this, but before I'm going to do that, I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to go ahead and add a YouTube video just so you kind of see what that looks like. I'll go ahead and paste in a URL here. So you'll see it gives me a little preview, how to use Google Drawings. Click add there. So you can add several things into an assignment. Go ahead and click assign. And there is our first assignment right there. Now you can see I have one student in this class, and you see the rights that are given on this assignment. I can go ahead and add a class comment right there on this assignment. What's nice is I can go ahead and click on done, and it shows me exactly who's done and who isn't. This has been a lifesaver in my class because some students will say that they are done or not done, and we're going to talk about marking things as done. That's been a point where I had to make a very clear emphasis with my students, but that is one way that's been really helpful to me. I can see exactly who's finished and who isn't. Now when you're in this assignment, you'll notice you have some options here as well. Some of the options include you can go ahead and sort the students by their last name or first name. You go ahead and click on not done. You can go ahead and email them again from here as well. You can actually change how many points this is actually worth, and you can also come right over here, and I love this option as well. You can go ahead and click on your cog, and you can copy all the grades to a Google Sheet, and you can download them all as well. So a very easy place to keep all your data and your assessments. I'm going to go ahead and unclick these. Now what we're going to do is return back here to our stream, and now I'm going to show you what the student would see in their view. So here's what they would see on their side. Again, you'd see classmates right there, so you know this is the student view, and they would see this assignment. Now they can go ahead and click on open. Now when they click on open, they'll see this view, and they'll see that it is not done, and they can click on this assignment right here. But also notice something, they can actually add things from their Google Drive. They can link things and add attachments. What I really like is this create button. If in the instructions it said something like create your own example or something like that, they can actually, right from Google Classroom, they can create their own docs, slides, sheets, and drawings. This is wonderful right here. This saves a lot of footwork, so they don't even have to go back to Google Drive to create. They can do it all inside Google Classroom. But let's go ahead and click on this assignment right here. And again, this is in the student view, so this is what they would see. We'll go ahead and move this over to the right place. Just a very little fraction, simple fractions assignment here. Now they're done. Now we'll go ahead and close out of this. Go back over here. Now that it's finished, I'll go ahead and click turn in. Go ahead and turn that in right there. Now I'm going to go back to the teacher view. You can tell it's the teacher view because it says students right there. See that the assignment has been turned in, it's done. Go ahead and click on that. I can click on the assignment, open it up right there, and you see, yes indeed, it has been finished correctly. So I'll go ahead and close out of this. So now I'm back in the assignment. Now I can have all those students click that had it done. I can leave this at 100 points. I can go ahead and input that right in here, 100 points right there. Now I can return this. Go ahead and click return. I can leave a comment if I wanted to. Click return right there. Now I'm going to go back to the student view so you can see exactly what the student would see. And they see returned, and there's their grade right there. They can resubmit it if they needed to. Now I'm going to come back up to my cog here, back in teacher view. Click on this cog, and remember me talking about this earlier, copy all grades to the Google Sheets. What's great is this keeps all your data, all your assessment, and all your grades in one area. See our test student right there, got the 100 out of 100 points, 100% there. We'll go ahead and click out of that, come back to our assignment. Let's go ahead and go back to our stream now and talk about some other functions. Let's come back to our plus. Now we'll create a question. Go ahead and click on the question right there. Type in one right here. Now you can again change your due date if you wanted to. I'll go ahead and keep it on today. Now watch these two options right here. I'm going to go ahead and unclick this. Maybe if you wanted something like maybe a critique or a discussion, you can go ahead and keep that on. And I'd like to go ahead and put this on. This kind of keeps your assessment a little bit more formative so students can go back and edit their answer. You can make it a little bit more summative and unclick that if you wanted to. Again, you can assign this to multiple classrooms, and there's your 4 choices again if you want to add a video or something from the Google Drive. So go ahead and click on Ask. This is one other option other than attaching a Google form, which I'll show you in just a moment. Now again, we have one not done and one done. I'm going to show this to you from the student's perspective as well. Now here's what that question would look like from the student's perspective. They can go ahead and type in their answer right here and then click Submit. Now it's very, very important that they do click on the blue submit buttons and the blue turn in buttons. That's one thing I've had to highlight in my class, because sometimes students will click in their answer and they'll input it or whatever, and they'll forget just to simply click on the blue turn in or blue submit or mark as done buttons. So they can go ahead and edit it if they wanted to. Let's go back to the teacher mode to see what this looks like. Now you have one done. You can go ahead and click on one done, and right there you're already familiar with that interface. Let's go ahead and go back to how to reuse a post. So I can go back to this. I can click on reuse a post. Now this opens up many of my classes here. So I'm going to go back to one of my classes. Here's my Stonegate 3rd grade art class. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, click select, and it's going to give me a list of posts here. And this is wonderful. Like for example, maybe I had a post in another class that I just wanted to use, but it's been like a couple weeks. I can go through here, and now I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right here. Please checking all your assignments in Google Classroom. Now I can reuse this. It gives me a little draft here. Click post. Now I just grabbed this post from another classroom. This is a wonderful lifesaver. Now that our Google Classroom is filling up, I want to take this opportunity to share some management tips with you. Now you'll notice I already have a lot of things in here. You want to teach students the differences in their icons and make sure that they're looking for those icons. An announcement, obviously they don't have to do anything, nothing's graded, it's more of just a reminder or just general class information. These questions they have to do, I've had to really make sure my students understand that this is definitely an assignment that they have to do, they have to click on, and again mark as done or finished or whatever, turn it in. Now you want to also be aware that you can move things. Like for example, let's say I wanted to move this announcement to the top. I can just click on my 3 buttons there, click move to the top, and it brings it all the way back to the top of the stream as well. You can also go ahead and delete posts to get those out of the way if you just don't need them anymore. And one thing I would recommend, if you're not going to allow your class to comment, you can also set up different ways for them to comment. For example, you can go down and post an assignment where there's like Google Docs, and they can go ahead and share a Google Doc, something like that. And then they can comment inside that Google Doc. If you want to ask them more questions and have those easily outputted to another Google Sheet, you go ahead and click on your plus. You can go back up to create an assignment, and this time you're going to go ahead and attach a Google form. I love Google Forms, and this is something that I have made many videos on. I'm going to go ahead and click on Forms right here. Go ahead and got a test quiz right here. Now I've attached this Google form. I'll go ahead and click Assign. We'll look at this from the student's perspective. Go ahead and refresh my page here. Now, when they do this, it's very important again that they go ahead and click open. Now, they want to make sure that they do mark it as done. So they'll go ahead and click on the form itself. It'll open up a new window. I'm just going to type in some general letters here. Click continue. Click submit. Then go back to open assignment if they need to. That brings them back to their Google Classroom. And they'll see that they are done. They can unsubmit it if they needed to. But it's very important to teach students that they need to see that it is done. That they just didn't answer the questions and didn't click the blue submit button. So they need to see this screen right here. Now they'll go back to their stream. And here's their stream in the student view. And they'll see that again they are done. We'll go back. Now, if you ever wanted to get some of those deleted items and see those things back, again in your stream, you can go ahead and click on Show Deleted Items, and it'll show those deleted items kind of grayed out there. Go ahead and unclick that. I'm going to come back up to my menu right up here and show you a great function. And we're going to go back to that calendar we talked about a little bit earlier, and you can see a very quick view of the assignments that are coming up, so forth and so on. We'll go back to our classes. Now, the other thing I want to show you is in the student view. When they go to their calendar, what's really nice, it will also show them if they have assignments coming up as well. They can also go ahead and click on this menu again and click on work and see about the work that needs to be done, and they go ahead and click on done and see what they've already completed. So it's really easy to figure out what you've already done and what you need to do in Google Classroom by using those functions. Let's go ahead and go back to our classroom. Go back to the teacher mode as well. Now the next thing I want to show you is actually a live Google Classroom. Now here is one of my actual classes. You see that I've posted a lot of things inside this class, including some tutorials that I made, some YouTube videos that I found, some Google Forms as well, some assessments I'm taking. And this has been an introduction to how to use Google Classroom in your class.